What is up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to tonight's matches live here on Heroes League TV. I am Pixie, and joining me tonight is Avril. And Avril, who are we watching tonight?
Oh, Pixie, what is up? I'm really excited tonight because we got a couple of big games. We're going to kick off the evening with Big versus Quentiam. This should be a really good game. Both of these teams are really experienced. Both of these teams have had time within the top 10 of the Australasian region. These guys know what they're doing. They're very good at the game, very organized teams, and it's just going to be a really good match.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see both of these guys play. Seen them... I've only seen Quentiam play before, but I have certainly heard a thing or two about B1G. And honestly, they are, like you said, really solid teams that have knocked about that top 10 for a while now. And as always, they're looking to push even further up, break that kind of top 5 or, I don't want to say it too early, but even top 3, as are all of these teams, no doubt. What are we kind of expecting to see out of these teams now that we've had a bit more of this patch?
Things have been really interesting the past couple of nights. As we've been watching these games and as we've been watching the patch develop, particularly with the really top end of the spectrum of the level of play, we saw Jam versus Untitled Chapter being the really big game this week, where teams have now started to phase out the Mercies. We're not seeing the Mercies Mercies being played anymore.
Up, and you're also and girls. Welcome.
You're seeing Zenyatta basically run in Mercy's place. That Transcendence heal more or less gives your team an almost pseudo invulnerability. No one's really dying inside the middle of the Transcendence. It's been really impactful in a lot of these games, and I think the birth of the No Mercy meta is starting to come about. And obviously McCree's had a really big impact, but I'll finish off by saying, really, that there's been a new patch again today, a little bit of a balance change. I don't know if everyone's completely caught up to that, but basically McCree's range has been slightly nerfed, and Anna's fire rate has gone up by 20%.
Marie, I like that. I think I can remember that.
Well, if there was a female McCree, it would be Marie. So there you go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, you actually make a really good point about that Zenyatta in favor of Mercy. I touched on that in that game as well, because I feel like one of the strengths of Mercy was how she could kind of absorb ultimates, because you'd take a bunch and your team would die, and then you come out and raise the team, right? But that relied on you staying alive. Whereas Zenyatta, even if he gets caught in the ultimates, he pops the Transcendence, and it's the same deal. It just absorbs whatever gets thrown at your team. But you make good points about the McCree and Anna as well there. And the McCree one is very much an adjustment. It's some given and some taken away. Do we want to go a bit more in depth on that? Because he's been so pivotal, in shaping the most recent meta.
So you're asking, let me just clarify, you're asking about McCree right now?
McCree.
Not Marie. Sorry, no, I'm just kidding.
Well, how is she? I haven't heard from her lately.
It's high noon, and I don't know, maybe... Who knows what's happening at high noon for Marie?
She's having a siesta.
Basically, okay, let's go back to McCree for a brief moment while the memeing is put to the side a little bit. Here's where McCree's sitting right now. So, still more or less 100% pick rate across all the maps that I can see. Obviously, the patch only dropped today. I don't think McCree's going to fall out of meta just yet. These guys have really practiced with McCree. They have 2 weeks now when McCree's been really good. Let's be honest, McCree's range is slightly nerfed, but it's still stronger than it was at launch. By, I think, at least 10 meters of range, which is a decent amount in this game. So, it's something that I think will be putting McCree more back in line to a balanced state, and isn't enough of a nerf to take him out of the meta, but it will give other heroes to a little bit of breathing space. And I don't know if it's enough to bring Farah back into the meta, but I think teams are going to feel a little bit better now about the way McCree's played. But other than that, any further thoughts before we get the game on?
Well, nothing that you haven't already touched upon. I too am interested to see maybe if we do start to see a Farah, but I agree. I'm not quite sure it's enough to really bring her back in, at least not the same way she was before. But in any case, we are going to get right on into the first map tonight. Going to be Lijiang Tower, and of course we saw that last night in the game. You mentioned Untitled Spreadsheet versus Tainted Minds, which was a very, very tight match on this map, and we saw some very interesting strategies. So I'm wondering if there are some other new strategies on Lijiang Tower that haven't been explored just yet that maybe these teams might bring out.
Unexplored, I don't know. All I know right now is that Ana has had a buff, and the 20% attack speed has been pretty influential. It's been significant, actually. It actually means a lot, and with also the clip boost as well. She now has 10 ammo in the clip instead of 8. I think it's actually possible you might begin to see some Ana on Koth, but I think it'll be difficult to phase Lucio out. I think you really want to keep the Zenyatta, and if you only have space for 2 supports in your lineup, which you do, it's very difficult to find an argument to keep Lucio over Ana, or to keep Ana instead of Zenyatta. So that's really the only adjustment I can see teams really making. Otherwise, your classics are still going to be here: McCree, Reaper. Zaya is obviously a really good pick for Koth as one. Winston's been showing a lot, but Jam did also pick a Reinhardt, so I don't know. Let's see what happens here that comes the game.
Yeah, and speaking of Reinhardt, Twiggy has already actually picked that one up over the Winston, which JT the Beast is going to be running in. He's already going deep. Speaking of that Winston, trying to get onto that Reinhardt. Nothing quite going to happen just yet. No one really going down except for JT the Beast himself. But actually, they do manage to find Kiki on the back line. And this is just blows being traded. Both teams trying to gain a bit of the upper hand before the point opens up. Neither team quite managing it. It's been fairly even across the board, though it is a couple of respawns coming in now, and
oh well,
getting onto the point.
That was a really, really good cleanup by Quet. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. That's what his team said anyway. But Quentiam looked really solid in that first push. Shu came out with the first couple of frags, and then they dropped 2. And from the 4v4 exchange onwards, Quet was the one that got most of the kills towards the end. So first point, the first cap actually going to go the way of Vega, and they're going to pick up Slid's jaw. Oh. That's one of the DPS players. That's going to make it difficult for Quentiam to push now.
Going really deep there. JT the Beast doing what Winston does best. And, of course, picking up that Genji as well is really, really key. Now with the Zaryas are just both kind of trying to trade blows across the bridges here, trying to get some opening damage down, as it looks like Quentiam are going to go ahead and reposition.
Quentiam are really finding it difficult to get in here. They've actually switched off the Reinhardt. I think that's a smart move at this point. They didn't really get enough room off the Reinhardt. Reinhardt just isn't giving them the mobility they're looking for, so they're going to go for the Winston here. Here comes Twiggy on the front line. Black hole coming down.
That is absolutely insane. What a black hole, and there should be the cleanup there, but no, Slizzle just going deep. They managed to get the sound barrier and the Transcendence off. Twiggy and Kiki and Shu have fallen over, though, so there's only so much Slizzle can do. He's just one guy. Now he's getting routed out of the base as well. He's able to jump away across the bridges there, and is going to be safe for now. But that was still a very convincing hold, and only really the one ultimate used there.
And the really good thing about that hold was, as you said, they barely used very many ultimates for that. And the thing that happened for Quentiam is they did blow a lot more ultimates. They used a lot more to get what they wanted there. Quite going to go for the Deadeye now. Pretty much just being used as a zoning tool. 74%. Quentiam's running out of timer. They haven't got anything on the cap. Twiggy's back to Reinhardt now, Pixie.
Oh, they're looking to go for the next fight, and they're going to have the black hole very, very soon, but they've already found Bim Shu. They're not even going to need that black hole there. And Slizzle just well gone down, not getting any mileage out of that Reaper. Bim as well, right at the top of the fight, was the first to go down. They've run down Twiggy, and now they're just looking for zoom in. The respawns are going to come in, but I don't think there's any way Quentiam can get on this point. And actually, yeah, there's going to be the Gravitron Surge just to secure it, as Mush's Suicide's off the edge, just for style points.
I think Quentiam are going to need to do a lot of revision for Lijiang, especially for Gardens, because that was not the best performance I've seen from Quentiam. This is a team that has taken maps off of Untitled Spreadsheet. These are not amateurs. This is a very good team, Quentiam. Definitely a lot of revision to be done here. I really want to just look at it again. I don't know if you realize, but Leo in that final fight got a double knockoff. Kiki was one of the players knocked off. I think Slid was the other one. I could be wrong there. I think either Shu or Kiki, or Kiki and Slid's got knocked off by Leo and then Lucio. But completely denied Quentiam from even touching the point. 0%, 100-0 shutout by Big Gaming. Now we're going to go for Night Markets, and I don't know. I want to see a bit more out of Quentiam. Let's see if they can recover from that loss.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And, getting caught by that Lucio knockoff on Lijiang, any map really is a little bit of an amateur mistake already. Slizzle going straight out the date, just skate trying to do work. They found Quat on the back line. That could be really big. Slizzle just gone really, really hard here. And it is going to be B1G getting on the point, but now they're trying to sort of defend on it. JT the Beast going down as well. Ultra already fallen a little bit earlier there. And this is just a really solid cleanup by Quentiam. Point about to unlock, and now Lijiang is going to try and keep the enemy team kettled in the base while that point gets secured.
The way Quentiam played that last fight was really good to see. You know, they fully took advantage of Twiggy's Reinhardt shield. I feel like they didn't really do that on Lijiang Gardens, but here on Night Markets, Shu managed to get a triple off that, so it's really amazing to see.
Oh, they're going in for it, but Lijiang already on the backline, keeping the Zenyatta a long way away from the fight. It goes down, finds JT the Beast. That's really the hard Genji counter here. Now trying to do what work he can to this area, who has a Discord on him and Mush falls over. Lijiang is going huge in these fights. He's doing so much work.
He is certainly doing a lot of work. Unfortunately, it's the rest of his teammates are picking up the kills, so his icon isn't showing up in the kill timer, but you're right. The Genji on Lijiang, I think Genji, this is something I forgot to mention, but Genji's being favored a lot in the current meta as well. And Lijiang is definitely doing a lot in the Genji tonight. Dragonblade available now for the next fight. Twiggy picks up the first kill, Pixie. Oh,
that's a really great start out. The Dragonblades come out right there, finding JT the Beast first. Mush, run out, face, completely dropped. And that is one hell of a triple against Lijiang. This time he did get the glory of the kills. And again, we see very few ultimates being used on the defense. Only this time around, it's Quentiam holding.
Okay, well here's the thing that Big can really do. They have the ultimate advantage, they have 3 plays, they have the black hole, they can make a play here. They might not have the combo ability. Bim is going to get his Transcendence as well. All the cards are now in the hands of Big. They have to make a play here, 71% on the progress time, and they have to make something happen now before it's too late.
They're already going to try and go in for it here. The Iris to come out for, I believe, the attackers right at the start of the fight. So Lijiang nearly bumped off the edge there, so he's totally out of this fight, which is really, really good news for the attacking side, but those on the point are still doing a lot of work, just cleaning up members left, right, and center. It's hard to even say who's getting who because everyone's dealing damage and the enemy team is all dying, and this is going to be a very convincing cap.
Well, I mean, the 4% left on the cap, and no one's even close to this right now. Here comes a black hole, but it's too little, too late. We're just seeing a complete shutout, this time from Quentiam. It's a complete role reversal from the first point. 1-1, both points complete shutouts, 100-0. Maybe these teams favor one map over the other. I'm finding it a little bit difficult to understand what's actually happening here, but Big, really, they failed to get their push in. Kiki's black hole completely nullified the offense from Big as they tried to enter that point. They got caught out there, couldn't get any kills, and then Shu basically cleaned them up.
Yeah, we actually talked yesterday when we were talking about the Mercy changes. Not having that Mercy is a lot more risky because if you die, that's it. And we saw that in both of those maps. 3 team fights, all 3 were lost by the losing side, and that was that. There is absolutely no margin for error. Anyway, both of these teams going to come out of the gates on the control room, and same lineups again for both. Twiggy still favoring that Reinhardt.
I'm liking this Reinhardt pick. It definitely gives a chance for Shu to make some damage on the back line. Mushinzi will take down Twiggy, but Kiki and Shu respond and climb.
Face. They've found a couple. Cat and Face as well have fallen over. This is really even trading. Shu goes off, finds Ultra. Now he's looking for Leo on Lucio, finds him. Shu, though, completely dumpstered by JT the Beast, but he's pretty much the only one still on the point. Heavily contested. Neither team really getting the upper hand completely here. Quentiam do have a little bit more. They've got the members now. It looks like they're going to get the cap.
Here's the thing I really like about Quentiam's lineup here. They have a Genji, which Big do not have. Genji's one of those characters, your team just can't run a Genji if you want to. You have to have a really good Genji player that can actually play that hero. Both teams have a really solid McCree, but I think the Sliz Genji is really making the big impact from my sidelines. Ultra on the Reaper, it's a good pick, but I don't know if it's enough.
What a cheeky flank here by Big. Really great reposition for them. And spotted out Cat on the top side. They're looking for it. Face completely zoned out by Lijiang. There goes the defensive Iris. And they're not able to find anything with the McCree as Cat gets picked off. Unfortunately, that's another complete team wipe by Big. And they're unable to get on the board again. Are we going to see another shutout?
Well, it is entirely possible, but what Big have to do here is they have to start setting up for combo opportunities. Ultra's on 99%, he's about to hit the Death Blossom ultimate. Mushes has to get his ultimate as well. They need the Black Hole plus the Death Blossom to make something really happen here. Here comes another push, 50% already on the progress timer. They're running out of time.
Oh, a catch onto Mush. Oh, Mush Cat gone down right at the top of the fight. The Black Hole is not going to be anywhere near enough. That's a complete two-wipe. That's beyond shutout. That's just destruction.
As destructive as that was, my point still stand. Mush's ultimate's going to come up. Ultra's ultimate was already up now, 70%. If they can make a push here, they can get it capped before 80%. Then they just have to hold out for at least 3 or 4 pushes after that. But something has to happen in this fight or it won't happen at all.
Oh, that could be it. They found the black hole, the defensive sound barrier to come out though. Aggressive Iris and a huge jet blossom. They find Shu, Zoom and a Bim. That's going to be the big picks. Slizorge, pretty much the only one left to do work as Twiggy and Kiki both fall over. And you called it, there's going to be the cap. 90% though. It is now on Big to win every single fight from here until the end of the game.
They absolutely cannot drop a single fight from here on, and whatever the lineup they're running, they have to keep this lineup. Don't forget, they don't have a mercy. They cannot rely on a res. Anybody that dies here that gets picked, that's a permanent death. That's going to take them out of the fight, so they have to play very conservative. They don't have ultis now. They just have Leo's ultimate. Whatever they want to do here, they have to be extremely patient.
Oh. And they have to be extremely careful. Kiki gets picked off right at the start. Slizorge as well. Ultra the only one to fall over. They are looking for JT the Beast. They do find him. That does
Quent going big.
But yeah, that's evened up, but it's a long way away from the point. It is a little bit lucky though for Quentiam that they have time to make a couple of more pushes.
Yeah, that's the thing about having a really big advantage on the progress timer is that because you're 50% ahead of the other team, you can afford to drop a couple of fights. And what dropping a couple of fights is actually going to give you, it's going to give you ultimate charge meter, because the only way the defenders can keep their defense is if they keep spending ultimates. If they keep spending ultimates and you don't, you're going to eventually have an ultimate advantage, as you can see here. Slid now with the Dragon Blade, Vim with the Transcendence. This is the combo I'm looking for this next fight. If Slid can go large, they can secure this point.
Yeah, they're not going for a flank though. I think that might cost them, and they're just trading blows for now, but no doubt the fight's going to break out any minute as the Deadeye gets channeled. Can he find anyone? He can find Leo. That is one, and that might just be enough. Just no
Dragon Blade.
That's a really, really solid black hole, but no follow-up because of the Earth Shadow. The Dragon Blade to come out, and he hasn't quite found anything to impact. Begins to get charged off the side, but that's JT the Beast out as well. Slizorge, no! He gets that hard. He doesn't go down, and that's JT the Beast dying for no reason. Twiggy does fall over on the point, but Cat gets sorted out by Shu, finding that one. There goes the defensive sound barrier. Lastly, arriving to the fight, they find Shu. Kiki now trying to do some work on the point. Pretty much the only one. It's Zarion, he finds his mush. Sorry, but he's pretty much the only one. The members are respawning for the defending team. Can they get the cap? It's so tight. There's the black hole available that needs to come out right about now.
Oh, we're into the defense
back in the point. They find Leo again. They might just be able to do it.
No!
They've got the cap. They're holding, and they've got enough ultimates to keep this one alive. They've got the black hole. Kiki, though, if he goes down as Dunzo, he does get the Gravitron surge out just in time.
Someone has to touch the point.
The overtime, that's not going to be there. And Quentiam get it back by the skin of their teeth. It was the opposite of a shutout.
Good Lord, they beat each other, completely rolled each other on the previous 2 maps, but here we are at control point, 99% overtime, and then Quentiam bring it back right at the last second and shut Big out from even touching the point. Oh my, did you see that hammer down from JT the Best onto Slid? I don't know if you caught that, but it was absolutely critical. It didn't win them the point, but man, was it a big play. It completely ruined the Dragon Blade. Slid immediately using Dragon Blade, and then JT the Best dropping the hammer down, and it just... The Dragon Blade just didn't do anything. It was stunned the entire time, and he lost his ultimate completely. They really needed that ultimate to win that fight. And unfortunately, the thing that happened was that both of the team's DPS players killed each other, left all the supports and the tanks left on the point to have this little wet noodle fight against each other. They just looked at each other. No one could really make a kill until the DPS players came back, and then it was just too late for Big, because at that point Quentiam had kept the point and their DPS players were in a better position to secure the round.
Yeah, that was a really strange kind of fight, really protracted for exactly the reasons you just pointed out. And I think one of the key things as well was JT the Beast going a little bit too deep on Slizorge, dropping him off the edge of the map, because Slizorge, for one thing, he was able to get back on the map. Now, yeah, he was a long way away from the fight, so essentially JT the Beast did what he wanted, but he still gave up his own life, with the enemy Reinhardt still on the point, swinging the hammer, and that ended up being a lot of why they were able to get that cap when it was just tanks and supports on the point. In any case, though, next map is going to be Dorado, a little bit of a different kettle of fish, and we've seen both of these teams play these payload maps a little bit differently as well. So what are we expecting out of this as we get into it?
Well, particularly for the offense, I think Slid will stay on the Genji, particularly for the second point. The second point is an amazing Genji section of the map. The first point, he'll probably play Genji as well because they need the mobility to get on top of the roof, get on top of the archway sections, and to make some plays from there. On the defense side, it's possible we'll see Mercy again. I made a point last night where I said on payload maps, it's kind of difficult to say that you don't want a Mercy because you're not allowed to lose a fight on defense. If you lose a fight on defense, you lose the point, and the only way to get you back into the fight is with a Mercy. But we'll find out very soon what these guys are actually going to play with their composition as we're about to get into this map. Dorado now for these teams. Yeah, I'm ready for these guys to get going.
Yeah, you're pretty good about that, Mercy. I like to call that the long walk when you're on defense and your team dies, or even if just one of you dies, it's a long way back to the fight, and you kind of have to cede ground. Even if it's only one guy who gets picked, you know, one guy gets picked, you cede a couple of meters. The whole team falls, you cede an entire point. But there's no two ways about that. That's how ground gets made on these payload maps. So, yeah, not having that Mercy can actually be a little bit of an unaffordable thing, but at the same time, we did see a team defend without that Mercy successfully yesterday. So, hey, maybe we'll see it again. In any case, on the map now, I'm excited to maybe see Ana. We've actually talked to some of the pros, and they do feel there is a place for Ana on this map.
Yeah, Ana on attack is definitely a possibility. I've mentioned the Ana buffs already, and I've mentioned Ana's capabilities. The way you want to play Ana on this, if you do decide to run Ana, is that you can completely run the nano boost. I think it charges pretty quickly, so you can afford to basically play your offense as normal, play very patiently, assuming if you're running a Lucio, you're going to be probably playing quickly, but if you're not going to be running Lucio, and I assume you're running the Ana plus a Zenyatta combo, you have to play the map very patiently on offense, wait for your nano boost to come up, and go for a team fight then with the nano boot advantage. Mush is already going to highlight over the Ana, so you know it's entirely possible we're going to see it. Slid going to be on the Junkrat though. That is an interesting pick for this defense. It's not an unlikely pick. It's something I've seen before, but to bring out the Junkrat now in this current patch, over a couple of other picks, we'll see how it goes. The big thing here is that they're not going to run the Mercy on the defense, which means if they fail a fight, they're going to fail to control the point.
Yeah, I want to talk about that Ana as well in a little bit more detail, because they're not even doing it instead of Zenyatta and Lucio. They're doing it as well as, so
right.
They must just be feeling that Mush is also a good enough sniper for this to matter, or he's going to change off it, and this is just a little bit of one to get us salivating before the game starts. But
so
there goes the change.
Big is going for the, well, they were thinking about going for the tri-supports lineup. They're actually going to change out. Mush is going to go back onto the Zaya. I was actually really hoping for Ana to be played on offense here, just because I want to see what these teams are capable of doing. Let's not forget Quentiam is really good on this map. This is the one that they beat Untitled Spreadsheet on, so I think Big have their work cut out for them.
I absolutely agree. Good positioning done by Sledgetorch, bouncing. That's a really hard name to say. I just want to say, bouncing the grenades off the wall there, just to make it. Yeah, just to make the march a little bit harder for the attacking side. They do actually find face and all that. They might just go ahead and try and run down the enemy team here, and they are doing a really great job of that. Big having a little bit of trouble. The payload. Wow, that's a really early hammer down. Not much follow up there, unfortunately. Actually, that's a lie. I'm looking at the wrong team. There's a ton of follow up as Bim, Kiki, and Sledgetorch all fall over. Twiggy as well to drop, and the payload is going to get a long way forward. Here's the long walk. That's what I was talking about. 4 members die. You see the point.
It's such a long walk that they can't even contest this point. Look, Shu is actually waiting. He wants to make a fight here. He's actually going to get chased down. They're going to go for a 3-1v1.
Wow, this is Mush coming in trying to do a ton of work. Kiki's already at full charge, but he's not able to really find the position for the fight. And again, the defender's actually backing up a really, really long way here to reposition.
Slid did use the tire, manages to get 1 kill on Leo. It's a bit of a weird, didn't really get really that much out of it. Leo's just going to respawn. It's kind of an ultimate use for nothing. I did feel like Quentiam looked like they were going to have the first fight. Slid picked the first kill, but it was really Bim who died after that set the pace for Big coming through and rolling the rest of them. I want to say that JT the best was the one that really carried that fight. He got a hammer extremely quickly, got the hammer down and got a double kill, and once again every kill counts because there's no mercy.
Yeah, I'm wondering even how he got that hammer so quickly. I'll be honest, I wasn't paying too much attention to what he was doing, but never mind. The fight going to go ahead now. They're getting right on top of JT the Beast, and already Kiki getting mowed down by Face. He's doing a lot of damage now. He gets caught in the black hole though, and that's going to be a lot of.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Kiki, Bim, Twiggy, pretty much the whole team. In fact, it is the whole team. Everyone's dead. That was an intense
look at this again.
Gravitron.
Look at this again. Once again, the long walk, they're not in position to contest. If you lose a single fighter's defense, you lose the entire point. And what my point is proven once again, can they actually get in here though? The players do want to contest this.
The double charge out is going to stop the right half of contesting, but he gets a hammer down. The Iris to come out from both teams. It's just a lot of high fives with these Zenyatas here. So many hands in the air, and they are sort of contesting, but really, they're just getting mowed down again. Kiki gonna fall here, and again, a full team wipe. They're definitely getting this point.
So, they did end up going for a bit of a defense play there, and the reason they got that is because Leo and the Lucio, you have to remember, I actually kind of forgot, I thought they weren't going to make it in time, but Lucio does actually give you a speed boost, believe it or not. I actually totally didn't even consider that, but they got him to the point. And the best thing they got out of that was they managed to blow a couple of Quentiam's ultimates, and they managed to blow a couple of Big's ultimates, and that's going to make this third point capture a lot harder. Ultra's now the only one having an ultimate. Dragon Blade, they're going to have to build up a few more ultimates if they want to take this last point. So actually, that final desperate defense turned out to be pretty good because it cost a lot of resources on the Big side.
Oh, they're actually dropping down to try and go for it. That's a really nice hammer down, but it only catches the one. Unfortunately, has zoned the rest of the team out. They've managed to get a lot of picks off just that, though. It really was a case of Sledge Dodge and Twiggy doing a ton of work there. The hammer down didn't even catch many people. It's just the chaos. Really, oh, that's a Dragon Blade popped by Ultra. Maybe a bit of a mistake. Might be looking to go and change that out.
Oh, yeah.
That's just a straight misclick. Oh, that's such a crucial ultimate to use up. How unfortunate.
It is, and it's not easy to charge because you actually have to be able to get into the other team, do a lot of damage to get the ultimate up. He's now on 4%. They really needed to use that. They could have comboed with the JT base. He's going to go in anyway.
Going deep, doesn't get the hammer down in time though, wasn't quite there with the charge, and now with that shield not there, Leo and Mush and Face all get picked off. Defensive Iris to come out as well, Ultra and Cat soon to fall down, and Quentiam looks to be in disarray earlier, but they are holding really convincingly on this last point. Just, it looks like no contest. These aren't even close fights, it's just suddenly everyone on Big is dead.
Here's the thing about Quentiam's defense right now. I think they were actually quite fortunate that Ultra wasted his ultimate on nothing, because I felt like if they didn't, Big were going to be able to make it in and do something there, because they were very close to ultimates as a team, and Quentiam had previously used a lot of ultimates and didn't get anything really in response to get the hold, but now they got a couple of ultimates up for themselves. Can they make a hold with this? Soundwave's going to come down first, Pixie.
Yeah, that's a really strong defensive ultimate already used. A lot of ultimates available now for the attackers, but they've already used just about all of them. Face, JT the Beast, both using theirs and both falling down. Actually, Face still alive, but Leo has fallen over. No sound barrier going to be available. Ultra as well. Cat, the only one with an ultimate, and he's a long way away from the fight. They did find Sledge towards Kiki and Zoom in, but they are both going to come back up, and Kiki's going to walk back into the fight with the Gravitron if it's sorely needed, but I don't even think it will be. The attackers aren't even on this payload.
Yeah, Quentiam once again managed to just outpace Big on the set. You notice actually one thing that Quentiam doing, they're the ones dictating the pace of this defense of the fights in general. Actually, they're always the ones going on top of Big as they make their push. Big are very rarely taking the initiative against Quentiam in a lot of these pushes at the moment, and once again they don't have any ults now. They just have Quiet, Steadeye ult, and they need a lot more than that. They need to at least get JT to best. They need to get a hammer down, or they need to get a black hole ready to combo with Ultra. Once again, that's going to be the entry where they make this fight happen.
Oh, that's a really nice black hole. The sound barrier is there, but they're just mowing people down again, already fighting Face and
Slid has an Ultra.
They managed to run Zoom in a long way away from that. Sorry, Leo a long way away from that fight. Again, everyone died. Everyone died on Big. I don't even know what's happening. Everyone just dies. They're just dropping so quick. And you're right on the mud. Quentiam, they just dictate the pace. They were the ones who win in. They were the ones to drop a Gravitron. And the follow-up was all there. So quick, so efficient, and so on point. Quentiam just looked like the better team here.
Big are starting to run out of options here. You actually see Ultra do another lineup change. He went from Genji to Reaper, now onto Winston. They're going to keep trying different things. Face is going to be the next one to get his ulti available. They're going to try this push a little bit quicker now.
It's actually doing a little bit more work. There's the defensive Iris though, and the Winston has gone deep onto Kiki.
Leo's back
alive though. JT already fallen over. They're doing so much work, continuing to run them down. Sledge Torch just finally fall over for the defenders, but with Cat already down and JT the Beast as well, they find Leo as well. He was trying to move the payload. Now there's going to be a Zenyatta on top of it doing what he can, but the contest is there. They've made some ground, but it's just not quite enough. Mush is going to fall over as well. And this is just people trickling in now, Ultra to fall.
Yep.
Making the ground was fairly significant, and that did look a little bit more convincing from Big. If only because they moved the payload and they took longer to die. But in any case, it was again Quentiam just looking on top. Their tanks didn't die. Big's tanks did, and already Quentiam pretty much had their ultimates back.
There was absolutely no reason for FaZe to jump in with an ultimate there. They had lost that fight. Leo died as well, and he was the one getting the sneaky back up on the point. That was a total waste of Transcendence, and I don't know what they were trying to do there. Here they are. They're going to rush the point again. I think they just want to really pressure Quentiam to make this fight come to them.
This is cheeky, but hey, it's something the Quentiam have liked, but they've managed to get them all in a Gravitron. They find Kinky Shoo Suman. They've already fallen over. Twiggy to follow. Sledge Torch going in with the Dragon Blade, but he's going to fall over soon, no matter what. There he goes. This could be a cap. They just need to keep them in the base. In fact, I think it will be a cap.
It will be.
As Ultra goes in just to keep everyone killed in the base, and well, it actually worked. They went straight onto the payload. They lured out Quentiam, and they all fell right into the black hole. That was a really cheeky setup, and it totally worked.
Play of the game.
It finally took for a double tank combo to come out to make that play happen. I mean, for so long, Big were just running into Quentiam and getting really nothing out of it. Quentiam looking like they were actually really going to be able to make their hold against Big, and from this point onwards, really, it took for both a Xayah ult into an Earth Shadow for them to finally secure it. And once again, I'll say it once more, that not having a Mercy means that they can't bring themselves back into the game, and every time that Big manages to get a significant advantage in terms of players on any offense, it just looks like Quentiam can't bring it back. Quentiam can't bring it back. It was just a really good push by Big to finally secure it out. It took them a lot of time, so I think what Quentiam can take out of this is they managed to do a really good hold on the third point. The first point hold wasn't really good, but the overall time was 740, and I think they can be pleased with that defense time overall.
Yeah, in fact, those first 2 points weren't even great holds, but buying that much time with the third point is going to be really crucial for them on attack now. And you actually said it before, this is a map they do quite like. They've managed to take this one off Untitled spreadsheets before. They've made the Giants bleed, if you will. And that is not something we've seen many people do. So they might even feel confident that 740 is a time they can beat here. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is. We saw them go off time and time again with Slidzorge on that Genji, and he's already hovering over it again. I would be stunned if he didn't bring it out.
He's certainly been playing a lot of Genji, and I think this meta has definitely favored him quite a bit. It's actually favored Shu a lot. Shu's been known to play quite a bit of McCree, so as far as Quentiam goes, this has been a very good patch for their lineup. It's almost been tailored to make their lineup work. The thing here now is 740 gives them a decent amount of time to make this offense happen. They can fail a couple of pushes and still manage to make it in. The first point is somewhat quite offense favored, I would say. The offense spawn is very close to the attack point. It's not very good for the defense. So once again, you're not going to see a Mercy, which means if Slidzorge, especially on the Genji, can make a few pickoffs on the back line, it's really going to open up this push for Quentiam on the offense.
Yeah, it's a really interesting lineup, though, because they've gone for 3 tanks. So they don't have the Mercy, but they have a little bit more survivability just in sheer amount of hit points total. And with a single target.
That's interesting.
On the defense. The Winston, Reinhardt, and Zarya. It's interesting,
I'm concerned they're going to get spammed out now. I'm concerned that if you don't run the Reinhardt, actually, no, JT base is on the right. They're running a triple tank. So called that wrong, my mistake. They're running a triple tank, and they're running 1 DPS. This puts a lot of pressure on Quiet to make all the plays. He's the one that has to get all the damage in, running a double support with Leo and the Lucio as well. So that's going to be really interesting. If Quiet can't make the plays, or if he gets picked out really early, this defense is going to completely break for Quentiam.
Yeah,
for Big.
It is one that makes the most of those Zenyatta orbs, though, which I think could be really crucial. This is a really nice flank, though, already coming out from Quentiam. They're just looking to make ground, make a bit of, make some picks.
Shu already has an ultimate.
Yeah, I was about to say, Shu with the ultimate, no doubt he's going, and actually he's going to channel that. He's in a really great position, and he finds Ultra, sorry. That's a really big one to start of the fight, but no, Quat finds him as he jumps down. Now it's just Ultra and JT the Beast who have fallen over for the defenders. When he falls over, that's huge. Sligetorch, he's wanting to go deep onto the backline, and he's getting a lot of work done. Isn't able to find any kills just yet, but he does find Quat as he falls to Mush himself, and it's just a lot of back and forth, a lot of ground being made on that payload, though. But this is sort of a hold. It's a long walk back, though. I actually quite like that use of the sound wave because it gives Cat a bit of time to walk back to the fight. They've already got JT the best. Now in with a huge hammer down! Straight in, catches all 4 members, swings the hammer, and kills the 3 of the 4 he caught, and he finishes off Kiki as well. That was just nuts. I was just saying, I like the sound barrier. It bought them time. They did so much with that time.
Not only the sound barrier, but you even see Face using the Transcendence there, basically on nothing just to buy some more time, because they need their DPS players to get back onto the point. The DPS player, I should say, because it's really just Quat doing most of the damage. You saw the impact that Slid killing Quat had on that offense. Basically, as soon as Quat died, it looked really good for Quentiam.
Oh, and this is a really hot start to the fight. There's more ultimate there for the defender. Slid going in deep already. Can he find anyone? Not quite just yet. He's seeking out the supports. Finds Leo. That's a key one at the start. But the Transcendence is going to make it hard to follow up. But he does find Ultra with the rest of that Dragon Blade. In fact, they've managed to find everyone. Mush the only one left alive. Face taking the long walk already. And Mush in that monkey mode. The Primal Rage active. He's only going to be able to do so much work with all these people on the payload. Now that this is a guaranteed cap, they need to send Sledge George far forward to keep the enemy team as far back as possible. He needs to stop them from getting into position.
I'm really concerned about Big's lineup here because I just don't know if it has enough damage. I mean, your second DPS player is playing Isaiah, and that's kind of okay, except the problem with payload maps is you can't keep the energy levels on the hero up. So it's actually going to get picked off. Maybe following your advice a bit too zealously there.
Yeah, don't pick a fight with a Winston when you are that Genji. And actually, they're going to try and follow this one even further forward, pushing the enemy team right the way back to that courtyard, kicking now a fair way back from the payload. But this can only last for so long. They can't afford to get too far away from their spawn, and they do need to be in a defensive position. So smartly, Big back up a little bit.
The other thing I'm really concerned about with Big's lineup is they don't have a really good DPS ult to combine with the Black Hole. A Deadeye really isn't good enough because if Twiggy can keep his shield up, the Deadeye does nothing. She's going to pick up a kill on Facer, so this could be an opening now for Quentiam.
There's going to be the hammer down to start it off, but there's no follow-up quite just there. Face already picked off. They have found Lich George and Zooman, who have a shorter walk back to the fight. Lich George probably going to get back into it already, as Kiki and Shu are trying to do a ton of work here. They found Ultra, not quite able to find the rest just yet. But did fall over at the beginning of that, or early-ish in that fight, rather, which was Kiki. Actually, they fired Leo right at the back end of that. That could be pretty big. The sound barrier, sure, it's a long way away from being up, but without that move speed to get people back into defensive positions, it's really hard to hold this point. And actually the fight's just going to straight up continue as the charge comes in with the Zenyatta as well. But there's a charge in response. Cat falls over mid-Deadeye. That's a huge pick and a great big black hole. But GG the best. Face and Ultra, and that's going to be the defenders absolutely crumbling here. It's a contest for the last 0.96 of a meter, but it's just pithy time as Mushes falls over, and there is still so much time left for Quentiam to take this last point.
There is a lot of time, but now all the ultimates are on the side. In fact, no, the ultimates are actually all on the side of Quentiam. So not only do they have the time, but they have the advantages, because what Big did there is they went for a desperation defense, but unlike the side of Quentiam on the reverse, on the offense of Quentiam, they didn't get that many ults out of the Quentiam offense. So now they're playing without the resources, and here comes Quentiam.
What a hammer down! They find Leo and Quat off the back of that. Mushes out of the mech, and he's sure to fall. Back there he goes. They aren't moving the payload though. You've got to move the payload. That's how you win it. JT the best falls over. Now they're moving the payload. They need to win another fight still. As great as that one was, not moving the payload has cost them. That being said, there is still 2.5 minutes left.
Here comes the McCreeds, or nothing really coming out of it. The payload is getting a lot of good movement. Oh, Quat goes down. That's all their damage.
It's so important for them, and he's not going to be able to come back out. Mushes as well, out of the mech. There's a Gravitron as well to stop the defenders getting back into position. The hammer down does catch Kiki though. He's not going to be able to throw out the Gravitron if he falls over, but he gets it just in time. They find Leo and JT the best, and they are a long way away from that payload as well on that defense in the complete wrong position. This is going to be a cap. Sure, as sun rises and sets, Quentiam take Dorado.
Yeah, really impressive offense by Quentiam. I was still questioning the defense a little from Big's lineup. They didn't change their lineup. It wasn't working for them, but they stuck to their guns, and they thought, well, maybe we can make this work. And the big problem, I'll reiterate, is that even with a black hole, even if Ultra uses it, you saw on the second point defense under the archway, there just wasn't enough damage follow-up. Not enough of the Quentiam players died in the black hole for that black hole to really count, and it really hurt the defense. Basically, when you rely purely on the McCree to do like 80% of the damage on your team, once again, Zaya on this map is difficult because Zaya is not going to be able to put out that much damage due to the fact that your energy levels can't be picked up because there's not enough fights for your energies to stay up, which once again means the McCree has to do all of the legwork here. And you see on the final point, as soon as Quake goes down, the defense falls apart completely because there's no one else to pick up the damage.
Yeah, dead right there. And on the flip side of that, twice in a row, we saw Quentiam have fantastic black holes. We even saw one of them in the play of the game there, allowing Slidzorge, one day I'll get that right, to just completely clean up with the Dragon Blade. And then, of course, the next one after that was in the corridor, same deal, caught 3. Actually, that was a hammer down, I lied to you. But the next black hole was the fight after that, where, again, he caught 3 just in the nick of time, and that was what secured the game for them. Normally, the defenders would actually have a chance to get into position there and maybe even take a couple of minutes off the clock, if not hold for the rest of the time, but not when Kiki is putting down Gravitrons that great. In any case, it looks like we're going to be bringing in a couple of these players for an interview, and I've got a lot to ask these guys.
I do as well.
These were some really interesting matches, especially that Lijiang, that very first one. A lot to say there, because the first 2 were shutouts, the last one wasn't. Like, that doesn't happen often.
It really doesn't. Usually one team outclasses the other team, or one team displays better practice or better discipline on Lijiang as a whole, on the entire map as a whole. But I guess when you split up the map into 3 individual maps and you can have teams favoring one particular section of Lijiang over the other, it's not completely out of the question that some teams are better on certain sections of Lijiang than other teams. But certainly rare. If you're good at a map, you're usually good at the entire map.
Tends to be the case. And speaking of being good at the entire map, we actually talked about how Quentiam generally are quite good at Dorado.
Yes.
A couple of questions were raised in our minds there when they seeded those first 2 points. And they put out a really convincing defense on the last one. As much as they weren't able to hold out indefinitely, the fact that they then won in really convincing fashion when they were pushing the payload kind of made those worries seem unfounded. That being said, you can't help but wonder if they've maybe started to slip on that Dorado. And in fact, we are going to be getting Twiggy and I believe Ultra into the channel with us so that we can have a chat with them about how they feel about those games.
Welcome, Twiggy. First one in.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. I just want to first of all congratulate on your win tonight across the maps. How did you feel about your overall performance against Big tonight?
I mean, everyone saw it. It wasn't the best we've done. There was a bit of... at the start of both maps, their aggression sort of overcame us a bit, and there was a bit of tilt, but then we sort of, after, when we were defending on Dorado, and they sort of took that first point, there was a bit of tilt, but then we sort of collected it on the last point, and managed to hold them long enough, and the points on after the first map on Lijiang, we sort of, it was a bit of tilt, but we managed to sort of come back and calm down and play better.
And actually, speaking of that Lijiang, we were talking about this quite a bit, and we're really curious to know. The first 2 maps were total shutouts, one in favor of Big, one in favor of you guys, and then the third map came really close. Both teams had that within 99%, so what do you think happened there? Do you think you guys were actually secretly quite evenly matched? It just didn't quite shine through in those first 2. What went on?
I think our Garden and Control Center is probably our weakest map on Lijiang, and Garden is sort of harder for us to retake that. Like against any team, we sort of have trouble sometimes retaking that when they've already got control of the point. But the point after that, we're pretty comfortable on that point. The second one, I don't remember what it's called. But Control Center's not our strongest map. I don't know about them, but luckily we were able to pull through. And
it was
sorry, go on.
Really interesting Koth meta at the moment, King of the Hill, where particularly on Lijiang, I guess because we're playing Lijiang this week, I was watching Jam play last night, and it was sort of, to me anyway, I was quite interested to see Jam's decisions that Peels was starting to run Reinhardt on Lijiang. Now, you guys have done that tonight as well. Twiggy, you obviously being the tank player, you played that Reinhardt on Lijiang. Could you just want to run through with us now where the meta is sort of going, and what's the deal with Reinhardt on control points now?
Yeah, so the reason that we sort of have been running him a bit more is like I said with the first point garden on Lijiang, it's harder for us to retake that with like, I don't know, it's just, we find it easier to defend that, and we find it harder to retake. Just with the champions that are being picked, like Reapers can get in your face as soon as you push around the corner and all that. But the Reinhardt makes it easier to push in, and once you get that push in and you're fighting on the point, it's even ground, really. So the team that has the point sort of has the advantage, and if you can have that Reinhardt push in to even it up, it makes it a bit easier.
Cool. I actually want to bring a bit of attention over to that second map of the night now, Dorado, because we talk about that a lot with you guys. It's a map that you guys are incredibly comfortable on. You even took that map off Untitled Spreadsheet, something that very few teams can really claim they've managed to do. But tonight it looks a little bit shakier. So what went on there with you guys?
Well, the first point, we've been practicing sort of going more aggressive and then backing up at the right time, and that definitely didn't happen. We got the pick on Zenyatta, and we sort of thought, you know, they didn't back off completely, so we thought try to get a bit of damage on them, stagger them a bit. And when they started to back off completely, we didn't, and then they took advantage of that, and then our Xayah couldn't back off fast enough, and then our Zenyatta couldn't, and they got picked, and then they just sort of collapsed on us because we were missing, you know, some crucial players. And then after that, there was a bit of some players were a bit unhappy, and then the point after that didn't go well at all because some people were impatient. But then after that, we sort of just said everyone just calm down and play properly, and it went well. The DPS were doing a lot of work, so that really helped on the third point.
And I do have a little bit of a question to that, because you say, you know, the team was able to collect yourselves and get a bit of a cool head. Who is your pool of tranquility there? Who is the brains of that operation? Who's kind of helping you guys do that?
It was sort of it was me and a couple other people. It was like me, Zoomin, and all that. Well, I think it was maybe me and Zoomin. I was just basically saying, you know, just chill out. She was also saying chill out. I think everyone was kind of generally annoyed, but everyone was kind of agreed that like we should just calm down a bit because this isn't going to help us win. Just being angry. So it was kind of a general decision. Everyone realized they were getting a bit annoyed.
Yeah, well, good that you guys certainly have that. And would also like to welcome Mosh. We have a couple of questions for you, no doubt. Alvaral, do you want to take that away?
Yeah, welcome, Mosh. Good performance tonight despite your loss. I want to bring us back to Lijiang a little bit here now that you're here. Yep. You guys came up against Quentiam's lineup, and they introduced the Reinhardt on Lijiang tonight. You guys initially went for the Winston play, and then somewhere in the middle of that Lijiang game, you guys decided you want to go for the Reinhardt as well. So what actually happened there? Where did you guys make the adjustment, and what was behind that decision?
I don't know. The whole Reinhardt and King of the Hill was pretty new and a surprise pick to us, and JT basically said we should just try to mirror what they're doing because it's not working for us. And he basically decided to pick Reinhardt on his own, choice.
All right. You guys have had some interesting picks tonight. A couple of things I was bringing up in the cast is we're going to go to Dorado now. Ultra plays a bit of Genji that we did see on Dorado, but on Lijiang, Ultra was the one playing Reaper, and it was interesting to see you guys not pick up the Genji in response to Slid's Genji. I kind of feel like Genji's been really getting traction in the current meta. How do you guys feel about where Genji sits in the current meta, and did you feel like Ultra could have also mirrored that against Slid's Genji on Lijiang?
Yeah, we definitely think Genji is good, and we just haven't really practiced with it lately, and Ultra hasn't been playing too much Genji, but I think it would be a good pick for King of the Hill, and that was probably a big mistake on our part to not mirror with the Genji.
And I want to ask about that second map as well, Dorado, because of course you guys kind of struggled to break through that third point for quite a while, and then pulled out just a really good bait play because of how you managed to move the payload, catching everyone in that Gravitron surge as they jumped off the balcony. Was that planned?
Yeah, that was planned.
That was
sick.
We all screamed when that happened. We heard the timer go down, and everyone screamed in Discord, "Get on the payload!"
Yeah, we basically when we got to the last point after we used our ultimates, we were just trying to do some raw pushes just to build ultimates, but I don't know. We didn't build them as fast as we wanted, and then I think it was Face that came up with the idea of that good play to go under because we were trying to back cat with the Lucio.
Quick note there, something of interest. This is kind of like a fluff question, I guess, but I noticed that Genji, Ultra on the Genji, randomly uses Dragon Blade towards that last point push. Was that a fat finger? Did he make a mistake?
Yeah, that was a fat finger, and he was pretty disappointed with himself when he did that.
Yeah, he couldn't have been the only one. I was a little bit disappointed as well because I really wanted to see where you guys want to take that push onwards.
Yeah, that definitely cost us a lot of time.
Coming back to Ultra, though, he played 3 heroes on attack for you guys. He played Genji, Reaper, and Winston. Were you guys kind of not feeling the different heroes that were being brought up? Because there was definitely quite a few changes in your offensive lineup. So maybe talk us through that a bit.
Basically, just we're thinking that things weren't working. We're trying to think of how we could change things up. And normally, I would play the Monkey and he would play the Zarya. But because I had a bit of charge on my ultimate, he decided to play Monkey.
You guys also had a really good offense for both the first and second point, but it came up to the third point where you guys started to struggle. Where did you feel like basically the momentum had shifted and that you guys had lost the ability to continue your offense? Because once again, for the first 2 points, you guys seemed to be able to roll through that quite comfortably, and then something happened on the third point where you guys just slipped. So what really happened there?
I'm not really too sure what happened on the last point. I'd have to watch the VOD back. Okay. I think they just were having a solid defense, and we were struggling, working out how to break it.
I want to bring it over. Sorry, Bixie, did you want to ask one?
No, by all means, carry on.
I want to quickly bring it over to the defense side as well. Something that I talked a lot about during the cast was that you guys ran tri-tank on defense, and I mentioned that I felt like with a tri-tank lineup, it was putting too much pressure on Quat. I hope I'm saying his name correctly, Quat. I thought it was putting a bit too much pressure on Quat to do all the damage for your team as basically the solo DPS. And I felt like Xayah struggled a bit too much to keep up with the damage, being that the energy, you just can't keep it up as much as you really want to. How did you feel that tri-tank lineup worked for you guys in defense? Was it effective? And, what was the reasoning behind that lineup?
The idea of that lineup was we really respect Slidzorge's Genji, and we kind of wanted to take the Monkey to hopefully try and shut him out when he comes in, but we didn't execute it very well.
Okay.
You pretty much covered what I was going to ask him. Honestly, great matches by both of you guys tonight. The Lijiang Tower was just so intense and so close, so props to both of you guys for that. It really looked like it could have gone anyway. And, of course, it didn't, in the end, get closed out by Quentiam, who then took away Dorado, so props to both of you teams with how that played, and a special congratulations, of course, to Quentiam.